I hereby summon all my imps. Hey everybody, it's Annabelle. Since last we left, 10 cards have been revealed, so it's time to review them. So from where we left off last was Corrupted Ashbringer. The next one for us is Hemorrhage. Hemorrhage is a 2 mana, 2 red gem, 2/3 Death Knight card that says Battle Cry, spend a corpse to discover a Blood Rune card. Now, from what I know and from what I've seen, if you have a corpse, you have to spend the corpse. As far as this card's concerned, it will only spend one corpse, period. So you don't get to spend a corpse and discover a card, then spend a corpse and discover a card until you're out of corpses. This is just basically a solid, decent card for 2. If you have a corpse, you can get a Blood Rune card. From what I know at this particular point, you can get the spells, you can get the weapons, you can get the creatures that are blood. The only creature that you obviously can't get is this one because of how Discover rules work. So I'm going to give this a River Crocus out of a side upside. Next up for us is number 2, which is a Blood Tap. Blood Tap is a 2 mana, 2 red gem shadow spell. Weird that this didn't end up being fell, but that's okay. You give all minions in your hand +1/+1. Spend 3 corpses to give them +1/+1 more. Handbook has always been hard to pull off. And to give everything in your hand plus even 2/2, I mean, you're wasting 2 mana, you're buffing your hand, but you're wasting a turn. In many situations, you'd rather play down a decently good 2-drop instead of buffing your hand. Especially if you don't have the 3 corpses, but the other problem with this is if you get to like mid and end game, if you don't have cards in your hand, this is basically a useless, worthless card. So I'm saying you gotta have maybe like 3 cards in your hand beside this for this to make sense, and those all have to be minions. So I'm giving this a hand buff out of do I have cards? Next up for us is number 3. Number 3 for us is Soul Stealer. Soul Stealer is a 8 mana, triple red gem, 5/5 Death Knight card that says destroy all other minions, gain 1 corpse for each enemy destroyed. So this is basically a Twisting Nether that has a slight upside because it puts some stats on your board. It's a brawl that you always win, basically. So you're playing, if you're going to play Twisted Nether, this is better. If you're going to play Brawl, this is better. The corpses are nice, but you don't care. And remember, this only counts for the corpses on your opponent's side. So if you have like 2, 3 things on your side, and your opponent has 1, you only gain 1 corpse. Which is really weird if that's how it works, because it should count your corpses because they died anyways, and then count your opponent's corpse. Which I hope is how this would work. I mean, it's weird if it doesn't work that way, but the way it's stated on the card says that it shouldn't. So I'm gonna give this a Twisting Nether out of You Gotta Be Triple Blood. Next up for us is number 4. Which is the legendary for Triple Blood. The legendary for Triple Blood is Alexstras's Morgaine, which is a 7 mana Triple Blood 7/7. For the rest of your game, deal 3 damage to your opponent at the end of the turn. So this is basically putting your opponent on a clock. If you can somehow get this to bounce as a fireball per turn. Turn 7, though, you're basically at the same point where Druid would be playing their Grass Dragon. And that's basically dealing 3 damage per turn, and that's not really seeing play. So I'm kind of curious if this would see play. I mean, if this dies as soon as this comes out, if your opponent can get rid of it right off the bat, 3 damage per turn for a lot of people is nothing. You know? I mean, I'm sure somebody will play it, but I don't think it's as powerful as everyone gives it credit for. So I'm giving this a Dr. Boom of this set. Which either means that I am completely wrong and this will be broken, or I'm completely right and this will be weak and never see play. Next up for us is number 5, which is the last blue card, which is Deathbringer Sourfang. Deathbringer Sourfang is a 5 mana double red gemmed 3/5 Death Knight card that says taunt. It has taunt and has Death Rattle. Return this to your hand. It costs health instead of mana. It's not that good on 5. It's not that good for spending life on this. Because you're going to spend 5 life to prevent 5 damage on most times. That's basically breaking even. I mean, if you can prevent 5 each and every turn, that's basically where you're breaking even. And this is basically going to block 5, because I'm going with the defense is what it can really block. I just don't know, like, why you want to use this. I mean, I guess theoretically it's a corpse bringer in your side. And red doesn't seem to have too many ways to get corpses. Because I'm assuming when this dies, it still puts a corpse in your pile. But other than that, I don't see where the use of this is. So I'm going to give this a repeatable taunt out of life damage. Next up for us is number 6. Which is, we're starting to get into neutrals. So this is when we're going to start talking about the neutrals. So this is the first neutral, and this is a very unique card. Because this one sort of works like old Pyros used to work, where it actually has 3 different forms. So I'm actually going to have to talk about each form separately. So the first form is the form that you're going to start with. You can't start it in form 2 or form 3. So this is the 2 mana, 2/2 that adds the second form to your hand. And the mana thirst on this, which means if you have 4 mana crystals, this effect will go off. Now, if you have 3 mana crystals and you coin, you will not get this effect. So you have to actually have the 4 crystals. Okay? You can spend 2 crystals before playing this. You don't need to have all 4 unlocked before playing this. But you need to have them all. So this will add the second form to your hand, and if you're at 4 mana, it'll deal 2 damage. The second form of this, which is a little hard to see, so we'll see if we can move this up, is the 5 mana. Add the third form to your hand. And mana thirst, gain 5 armor. And the third form is the 8 mana, which deals 8 damage randomly split between all enemy minions. And if you have 10 crystals, you deal 8 more. Each one of these isn't bad on its own. And if you play them on the right turn, they're really not bad, because you basically want to play this on 4. You basically want to play this on 7. You basically want to play this on 8. So that you can basically consider this 4, 7, and 10. But if you get into any weird stretches, you could basically go 4 and then 5. So if you get this like right before turn 5, you can play this on 4 and play this on 5 if you get into a struggle. If you get this on 7, you can play, if you get this on 7, you can play, hang on. You can play, you get this on 4, you can play this on 4, and then you can play this on 5. If you get this on 6, yeah, 6. You can play this on 6, you can play this on 7, then you can play this on 8. So getting this on turn 4 is good. And getting this on turn 6 is good. This is your 6, your 7, and your 8 play. This could also be 10, 9, and 8. So you can also get this one on 8, 9, and then 10. So this one has a wide range of different times where this is going to be useful. So this one I think is going to see some sort of play and might be better than you give it credit for because of the fact that there are going to be certain turns where you're just going to have card, card, card. So I will give this card, 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 out of card. Next up for us is number 7. Number 7 for us is Enchanter. And Enchanter is a 3 mana, 3/3. It has enemy minions take double damage during your turn. This is going to see one round maybe. The thing about this is it only works against minions, it doesn't work against face. And you kind of need a board for this to be useful. And at this point, boards don't really exist. So, your best hope is that you get like 3 3/3s besides this. You slam this down and then you can take down some like 6/6s on your opponent's side. I mean, it works for spells too. So maybe you can use this like to just like kill something with a spell. Wipe a board with a cheap spell, so we'll see how that works. So I will give this a minion damage out of spell damage. Next up for us is number 8. Number 8 for us is going to be Silver Moon Arcanate, which is the 3 mana 2/2, which has spell damage +2, battle cry. Your spells can't target heroes this turn. I don't know when you're using this, per se. So if this comes down, it's definitely a pseudo taunt on it. The card before this is better for what you need to do if you're trying to wipe out minions. So hang on, let me just look and do a comparison. Same mana cost, more health on this, and more things that you can use with this because your spells could still go face. Your spells are doing double to minions. Less attack, less damage, only 2 spell power. I mean, unless you got a really low spell, this is always going to be doing better than this. So I really don't know where you're slotting this in. The only time this is going to be worse than this is legitimately on a 1-cost spell. 2, it breaks even. And 3, this does better. So the only time this is better is if you have something that says like deal 1 to all minions. Or deal 1 to something. Once you hit 2, they balance themselves back out, and once you hit 3, this does better. I mean, theoretically, if this can live a turn, this does better in the long run. This can only still go minions. But neither one of these is living past 1 turn. Unless you get ridiculously lucky. So I'm giving this a bad copy out of bad stats. Next up for us is number 8, which is the Crystal Broker. The Crystal Broker is a 3-mana 3/3 that has Mana Thirst summon a 3-cost minion, Mana Thirst summon a 8-cost minion. So again, on 5 crystals you summon an extra 3-cost minion, and on 10 mana you summon a 8-cost minion. And the thing about this particular one is random minions are random. And I know that's the dumbest statement I can possibly ever say. Random minions are random. Well, duh. But the fact is that getting a random minion rarely, if ever, is going to help out your deck. This one almost could have the word instead taken out and changed to also. And I think this might see play then. Turn 5 summoning 2 3/3s. Turn 10 summoning a 3/3, a 3/3, and an 8/8. Yeah. That seems about where this game should be at this point. I'm not even trying to be rude. That just seems like where this game should be at this point. So I'm going to give this a random is out of random. Should be 9 for us. So this should be number 10. Which is a Sanctum Spellbender. And it says whenever your opponent targets another minion with a spell, redirect it to this. So, in certain games, we would call this a flag bearer card. Because you're basically putting it down when you want to protect something else. But since this only works on spells and doesn't even have taunt, I'm not seeing where you're using this because you're just going to attack the minion that you want down first. In best case scenario, you're basically getting this pseudo taunt. And what spell are you trying to get on this? Are you hoping that somebody is unwise enough to cast like a buff spell? And then this gets buffed and then they sit there and go, man, I wasted a buff spell on this. Also, I am kind of curious on how this works with like AoE spells. Technically, it doesn't work on AoE spells, if I'm reading this correctly. Only single target spells. So the only time that you actually catch somebody is if they're running a single target buff spell. That's the spell you want to grab off of them. I mean, You're basically playing a 4-mana 3/6 quote-unquote taunt. That just prevents, that's basically almost the equivalent of a counter spell. It's just a weird card. So I'm giving this pseudo taunt out a counter spell. Okay. Those should be the 10 cards that have been revealed since the last time I did a review. At least 10 more cards that have been revealed since I did the last review. There should be more that come out tomorrow. There are already some here in the pile for tomorrow. So tomorrow I'll be doing another review on the next 10. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, remember, play for